school and BA in electrical engineering from Stanford. Smart dude, and Tim would like to take California and break it off into 6 separate states. So tell us how that works.
Well, so California is like a monopoly. It's like where you get bad service. It's like your cable guy.
Right.
You get bad service and they charge you whatever they want.
Yes.
And that's what we've got. And I think California 40 years ago was awesome.
Sure.
We were best in education. We had great infrastructure. We had low recidivism, low unemployment. Now we are the worst-run state in the union. We, according to 24/7 in Huffington Post, California is 50th out of 50 in how badly it's been managed.
Right.
So
because we have an ocean and it's topography.
Well, and it's a beautiful place. And we
why
all love being here.
That's why.
And we're stuck with one choice. One choice.
I agree with you. I used to have salmon cable, or whatever the fuck it was when I lived in La Crescenta, and they sucked. And I would say to them all the time, you guys don't have HBO, and you don't have Playboy, and you don't have ESPN, and you don't have anything. And yet you charge $18, the same as the other station, the other cable where I used to live in Studio City charges $18, but they have all this stuff. What? And I'd say to them all the time, look, if you're going to be subpar, fine, charge $12. But there's like, nah, that's what we charge. Yeah. Now they don't because they have satellite TV. Just look how cable has gotten their shit together over the last few years.
Well, cable's now got some competition.
Right.
So now if you had 6 Californias, we could choose which state we would want to be a part of.
Ooh.
And having that choice makes a big difference. And all of a sudden they have to perform. They have to be more transparent. They have to be more accountable to us. The counties can self-assemble into these states, and that can make a big impact.
Why
on
is
all
California
of us.
such a pile of shit? I've said it all the time. Like, why do we run this state so horribly?
Well, it's really interesting because we've got brilliant people that have run California. It's just ungovernable. It's the idea that people in Sacramento are deciding what people in Petaluma are supposed to do with their milk money, and the people in San Bernardino are supposed to do with.
But is it just the size that makes it unmanageable? I mean, because there are other big states that don't seem to have these problems, right?
Well, there's actually only most big states are the worst run, so they're the ones at the bottom. Texas is an exception. Remarkably, Texas they only show up. The Assembly and the Senate only show up for a short period of time every 2 years. Here, they're year-round, so they get very creative on hey, maybe we should ban that water bottle or that
Let's
can.
focus on e-cigarettes, because meanwhile, everyone's stuck on the 405. It's a fucking parking lot,
right.
But let's focus on e-cigarettes. Thanks.
Right. And all the good manufacturing jobs are leaving. They go to Texas and Tennessee and wherever.
Of course.
And it's because we don't have any competition in government. When there is competition, everybody performs better. You get better service for lower prices, and everybody's better off.
I don't get the competition part and why we attempt to sweep that under the carpet when it's the only thing that motivates anyone for any reason at any time while you're alive. We try to throw it away when it comes to education. We try to throw it away when it comes to manufacturing and business. We try to throw it away for everything, and yet it's the only thing.
We're trying to use the word choice so that people think in terms of, I want to choose. I want to choose what I wear. I want to choose what I eat. I want to choose the car I drive. All those decisions. By the way, nice car collection out there.
Thank you.
Terrific. So I think competition is what we've got going in the U.S. I mean, that's what's beautiful about the U.S. is that we allow competition and we force competition.
But
when a company gets to be a monopoly, we break it up like Ma Bell.
It turned into something weird at a certain point, and it was part of, because I remember this, because I grew up in California, and there was a sort of a hippie movement that my mom was a part of back in the day where competition was sort of frowned on. It was sort of like, we don't need to have a winner. We don't need to raise somebody's hand and shame everybody else. And we should stop this. And we started focusing on competition as if it was a bad thing. And it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's simply what motivates people.
I think it was harder for your mother to watch when you lost than it was for you to lose.
Well, she wasn't there. She was ripping a bong load in a rattan chair in the back of her fucking mom's shitbox in North Hollywood. Not that I have feelings about it. Or at least ones I haven't worked out through extensive therapy. No, what my mom, if there was a competition, she would have been nowhere near the fucking podium. And if you notice, the people that want to get away from the competition are people that don't do so well. Yeah, like the people, whether it's boxing or business, when you're fucking good, you go, fuck yeah, bring on the Golden Gloves. I'm ready to go. Or ring that bell. Let's start the Wall Street and fire it up, When you're not so good at the competition, that's when you don't want it, or a politician who never really needs to involve themselves in the competition.
Well, politicians do go into competition with one another, but
not out here. We just anoint people. And they stay there for 40 years.
Even if you lose the competition, the fact that there's a competition makes all of us better off. And it gives us more choices, and we really need more choices. We need a government that is much more efficient, runs a much better education system. Our education system, we're 46th. We spend the most, and we're 46th in education.
I went to the L.A. Unified School District.
Okay. How was that for you?
That's out of 60.
Okay.
You understand me?
Well, it doesn't sound so bad.
They included Guam, I think.
Yeah, I think Puerto Rico and Guam wasn't in there when I was coming up. Yeah, 42. Okay. The amount we spend per kid versus what we're getting
is a nightmare.
Well,
it's a crime. And, my kids are now adults, and they're all deciding to settle in California because the weather's so good and everything. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is horrible.
But imagine if it was a business.
This is the worst state, and it's getting worse. When you're 50th out of 50, you think there's nowhere to go but up. No, you could actually it could actually get much, much worse.
I'm with you, and I don't know now. How did we manage in something like education to get this far behind?
It's weird because we were number one in education about 40 years ago. California was the top of the top, best education system in the world. And somehow we've let that slide down to 46. And I think it's because we only have one choice.
Right.
We're stuck with our choice, whatever it is, because we like living here because it's nice weather. And I guess the ivory tower knows it. And they make whatever determination they want.
Well, that's why they're not down with vouchers. They're not down with choice. I mean, of course, competition, it brings out the best in everyone. Look, first off, there would be no Muhammad Ali without the George Foremans and the Joe Frazier's of the world. I mean, that's what brings it out. Number two, losing isn't that bad as long as you've tried. I mean, people turn it into something that's supposed to be demoralizing. It's really not. We've all played sports. We've all lost. We've all been told, hey, 24-year-old Adam Carolla, you're not Groundlings material. Move on. Like I went, okay, I'm moving on, but I shall fight again. And that's okay. We've all been in relationships, had people leave us. Everybody needs that. You build up a little callus, a little resiliency, a little calluses on your feet, and you can walk barefoot without squealing like a stuck pig. That's fine.
And there is a competition amongst states. People are leaving California. We're 50th out of 50. Good people, good jobs are all leaving California. You've got, here in L.A., people are losing jobs because movies are being produced in other states. Shouldn't we be a little nervous about that? Shouldn't we be panicking and saying, how do we make this better?
Well, and these are the very people that don't want the competition that you speak of that are hopping on a plane and moving the whole production to New Mexico or Vancouver, where have you. So
let me take you to the happy place.
Let's go.
Okay, let's say we've got 6 new states.
Mm-hmm.
What would that state look like? First of all, your state would get rid of patent trolling.
Thank you.
Okay, but there are plenty of other states, plenty of other things out there where if you looked and said, okay, here's a plot of land that is what is California. There are 38 million people here. If you were going to create that from scratch, you would not create what we have in Sacramento.
Right.
That would not be anywhere near your thinking. But what might happen is you might say, hey, okay, we've got 6 states. Let's do some crowdsourcing. Let's figure out what we want our, everything from the state bird and the flag and the Constitution and how we're going to manage our lives. It can all be done with a fresh start. Now, a fresh start means, hey, you can start with electronic voting. My gosh, I have to get 808,000 signatures. By the way, if anybody out there sees one of these people on the street looking for to sign a petition and the petition has a blue check mark on it, go sign it. We need 808,000 signatures, and so go out there and sign the petition.
DFJ, not G. DFJ.com is where you can go for more information.
Oh no, sorry. Go to six.
That's what the website says.
Go to 6californias.info. If you want to go venture capital, then go to DFJ.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
Yeah. Well, it might be good. I'd like to make it a one-stop shop, but my partners would not.
Is that
6 spelled out or
SIX Californias.info? But
why
we need you to sign petitions right now.
I'll sign a piece of toilet paper at this point because I've lived here my entire life. I see the place turning into a dump. I tell people all the time it's turning into a dump. No one will fucking listen to me. And I say just look around. Look at the education system. So wait till you guys have a family of your own.
Are blessed with children.
And then have fun finding a public school near where you live. And
it
then
already sounds fun.
Have the decision that, am I going to have to pick up and move somewhere so that I can have a school? And by the way, there are not too many places, but you can go to a couple of places. I mean, there's one school, my kids don't go there anymore, but there's a school, Carpenter, on off of Ventura and Studio City over there. There's thousands of extra kids. There's families buying up apartment rooms and P.O. boxes and everything just to say they live in the district. They have to have these huge meetings where everyone gathers and they go, look, we're going to thin the herd. We know a lot of you people don't live here. In a place that charges the kind of taxes that Los Angeles and California charge, the fact that if you live in Van Nuys or Sherman Oaks, or if you lived in Reseda or even somewhere in Hollywood, the kind of taxes you pay in Hollywood, that you would have to buy a condominium so that you could gerrymander this thing so your kid could go to a grade school that was just decent, is insane, and shows that whoever's running the system is either corrupt or inept or corrupt. Which is both, which I assume there are just both. I think they're corrupt.
I think the corrupt people are not really corrupt. They just are doing their job and sort of marching it right off the cliff. So every time, well, first of all, to finish on my petition thing, we can't even use electronic signatures. We have to use a sheet of paper that's 14 by 17.
Right.
Which is everybody's standard sheet, right?
In the greenest state in the union,
right.
We can't
we're
cut down a tree.
We can't use electronic signatures.
Why not?
Apparently, the way they wrote the law, it went to court. The way they wrote the law was that you have to attach your signature to the petition. And they used the attach word, and they felt like attach was a physical attachment rather than anyway. So they won it on some strange thing. But look, every time you're stuck in traffic, every time you're mad at a bad education system, every time you are not getting your water, every time think 6 Californias.
Why 6? Why not 4?
Okay, well, 6 allows more competition. It allows us, constituents, to go to another state if we're really upset with our government.
Mm-hmm.
So that if it's less, they still have a pretty good chance to be a monopoly. If it's like 2, you've got 2 monopolies. If it's 3, maybe you've got a little competition. With 4, maybe a little better. But with 6, it feels like, look, there are other choices. So you, government, we're watching. You better really perform. We want the best for us. Now, we, the people, this is a democracy, and we've been complacent here.
Yes.
In the U.S., in California, we've been complacent. We've let our government get bad.
Yes.
It used to be great. We've let it get bad. Now we've got to do something.
Can I make this suggestion? I don't need all 6, but in Carollaburg, I would suggest that would be one of the places.
By the way, you can name it whatever you want.
That's
we've got artificial names
on.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would start at Hearst Castle, where I will obviously take up residency. I'll just head down the coast.
You like the coast?
Just to Jennifer Aniston's house, just past that, and then I stop, and that'll be my sort of
Do you
jurisdiction.
ski too? Do you want the mountains too?
Okay. Yeah.
How about
what if
do
it was
you
6
eat? Do you
long
want the farms too?
You know what? No, let the farmers
okay.
have their land.
Okay,
they're
good.
proud.
Yeah.
But I'll just take that stretch of
that's
coast
your fiefdom.
from San Simeon over there, wherever Hearst Castle is, and then down to Aniston's house, maybe in Malibu. Oh, let's take it down to Johnny Carson's old place down there by the pier, and then that'll be my little stretch. And don't you worry.
It actually could happen with this initiative because we are allowing every county the ability to, if they feel that they are in the wrong state, because we've arbitrarily chosen these states, these state lines. Any county can then choose the state that is better for them. So those states have to compete not just for you as constituents, but for counties.
Well, it's like a reality show,
and you can choose the state name.
I've always
but you got to crowdsource it. So you guys, you're going to have to just pound the radio.
I shall,
saying we need 6 Californias, and we need to name it what is it?
Carollaville.
Ville.
Ville will work. I've always said this, and I think you'll get behind me on this. For years, I've said, this is the problem, but it sounds like a joke, but it's not. It's really a little microcosm of what you're talking about. Hawaiian Gardens is a piece of shit. But when you live in Pittsburgh and you're thinking of moving out to L.A. and someone says you want to live in Hawaiian Gardens, it sounds pretty good. Panorama City's a piece of shit, but it sounds like it's pretty good. Sun Valley's a pile of shit, but also sounds like a pretty good place to live. And the list goes on and on. As a matter of fact, it's the ones that are nicer, like Encino and Sherman Oaks, that don't mean anything. And if someone gave you a choice, you want to live in Hawaiian Gardens or in Encino, you'd go Hawaiian Gardens 10 times. I've always said they should just give all the cities numbers and let them fight it out. Meaning, hey, if you're Hawaiian Gardens, you're not Hawaiian Gardens, you're 257. You want to get up, you want to crack the 100s, you want to get into double digits, start busting your ass.
Oh.
That's right.
Oh, so you create performance
Let's
measures.
see who's number 1. Let's see who cracks the top 10.
It'd be hard to meet up with your friend, but it would help everyone.
Right. And real estate prices would follow in step with that. And also for the guy who was moving from Beaver Falls out, and I don't know why you'd ever leave Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, but you're moving out to California, you're no longer getting suckered into Hawaiian Gardens. You're getting 268. You're like, what? No.
Thousand Oaks and 29 Palms have to switch names.
Right.
I like that. I like that ranking. I actually think that would be in effect that's going to happen. It's starting to happen, and there is real ranking. And California is 50th out of 50. So there is a real ranking of 50th. We're the biggest state in the union, and we are 50th. Even if these 6 states end up being – I think they're going to be the top 6 states in the nation. But
absolutely, if they competed.
Even if they're average states, we're all way better off.